We've had this for almost 10 years now. It's a John Deere 1690 soybean special. It's basically derived from the original John Deere 750 no-till drill. They've kind of modified they've definitely modified the metering unit from the no-till drill, where it uses a transmission to adjust the metering of the soybeans as opposed to adjusting the flute. And they've beefed up and kind of adjusted and changed each row unit. This is the row unit as we're running it today. We've made a few changes from the way it would come straight from John Deere. First would be we're running a Needham narrower gauge wheel, and this is the first year we've ran it, but what little we have run it I really do like. Instead of metering over about a 4-inch area and where any residue or root previous year's corn residue or root mass that you hit, we're narrowing down to about a 2.5-inch zone that we're doing our metering. Plus, it's a more dense material, and I think it'll last a lot longer than the standard rubber tire that comes from the factory. We also, on a regular basis, replace our boots to make sure that we have a good boot here and it's not getting worn. We've gone to annually replacing the seed firming flap here. And there's several different aftermarket ones there that we have tried and seem to like. And then we've also added a narrower gauge wheel, or narrower firming wheel here. The standard firming wheel is about twice this wide and maybe does not get down into the bottom of the slot to actually firm that seed into the bottom of our V. And so we like this narrower gauge tire here, or a firming wheel. And finally, just like what we like a spiked closing wheel on our corn planter, we really have liked going to the spiked closing wheel on this setup, because generally in our no-till environment, very rarely are we no-tilling into bone dry soil. It's usually going to be moist soil, especially under heavy corn residue. So, and in our clay soils, having like a spiked type closing wheel just kind of crumbles that dirt down around that seedling, as opposed to mashing it and slamming it shut. And you run into less potential of sealing that ground and having the crop not being able to get up out of the surface. So we've made several modifications that we've tried over the years, and we really like this setup that we have now. I will say, I think this narrower tire is a good deal, unless you're going to be, if you have a combination of no-till and conventional till, may not be the thing a guy wants to go to, just from a standpoint. I think in soft soil, you need to have that wider surface to gauge your depth off of. So for us in 100% no-till, it just seems to work really well. We like the seeder as a package. For one thing, when we first purchased it, there weren't a lot of split row planters on the market at the time. They were kind of the up and coming new thing. And we like the capability of being able to have a central fill when we purchased it. It's very heavily built. I mean, you can see there's a lot of steel in this row unit. It allows us to, in some of our harder clay grounds up on a hill, we can put that seed in there where it needs to go. The simplicity of it, where we've got just one blade on each row as opposed to 2 or 3. We've only got 5 or 6 chains, versus if this was a 24 row or a 12-24 split row planter. You're going to be upwards of 30 plus chains on that type of a unit. So it's a very simple machine. We're also doing some cover crop with it, and it's just a good machine for planting soybeans and doing the cover crops.